Okay, well, welcome everybody. This is the regular May meeting of the Darien, Connecticut Parks and Recreation Commission, Wednesday, May 19th. I'm calling the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. First order of business is the approval of the minutes from April 21st. And does anybody have any comments or changes? No? Kathy, come on. Kathy, you're on mute.
I just had one question. It wasn't a comment or a change. I couldn't remember if for Pear Tree Point we decided not to move ahead now, or we decided we were going to consider it at a later point in time. It really is a question. I don't remember.
My recollection is that we were going to consider it a later time, let the parking lot process work its way through, you know, see how that plays out, whether we get our permissions or not. And then, you know, recommend that the selectmen, who are actually the building committee, reports to the selectmen, not to us, to reconvene that group.
Yeah, I'd like to reflect that in the minutes, if that's okay.
Sure. All right, Pam, are you gonna write this down?
Yes, I am. And also it was not only the parking lot, it was the boat ramp.
Yes, yes. I think there was the reference to the boat ramp when I read this. It was definitely there. Okay. Anything else?
No, that was it for me.
The only thing I noticed was under absent, she listed NA. And technically Lucy Hackman still is a member of the commission. So she would have to be listed as absent.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. That was the only thing I had.
Jamie
Jamie
would be so disappointed that she missed this one.
I know, she does such a good job on them. And some of us who have been around for a while still remember those painful minutes we used to get.
Exactly.
So we spent 45 minutes going over, no, we didn't say that, and this sentence makes no sense, so this is much better. Okay, in that case, I need a motion to accept the minutes as amended. Susan? Second?
I'll second.
I think Mary Louise had her hand up, so we'll go Mary Louise. And okay, so you have to roll call the rest of us, Pam.
Okay. So Sarah,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
and Lori.
Yep.
All set.
All set. Okay. So now to our revotes. So last month, the incorrect agenda was posted to the town website. I guess it was an agenda from like 10 years ago, Pam?
Yes. It had the same date, April 21, just different year.
Okay.
Or April 9th. Yeah, something like that. 21.
Whatever it was, so the wrong year. And while we did have many visitors, so I guess because we had distributed it to the Parks and Recs Committee, F&B or whatever, with many visitors, it wasn't readily apparent to us as we were proceeding through the evening, and we had other visitors, that we didn't have full access and no one had registered for public comment as well. But one of the selectmen did want to listen to our conversation regarding the beaches, I suspect, but did try to get in and was not able to do so. So contacted Kate after the fact, who reached out to town council Wayne Fox, who felt that because the meeting was not fully public, that the votes that we took effectively would be null and void, and that we needed to revote this evening. So therefore, we need to re-vote on each of these items. And, you know, in the meanwhile, Pam, I don't believe was able to take any action on the different things, but I think it probably only held up one item. So any questions on that before we go through this? No, okay. So the first item was approving the minutes of March 17th. We had made a few amendments. Again, we did not make many amendments to those. Jamie, as we just said, has been doing a really great job of preparing the minutes. So we would need a motion. Last time Mary Louise made the motion to approve the March 17 minutes. Would you like to make that again?
I would, yes.
Okay, thank you. And it was seconded by Kathy.
I will second again.
Okay, great. Okay, and then Pam, if you can roll call the rest of us.
Sure, Susan. Sarah,
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Okay.
Tiara's just popped in, but probably doesn't know what she would be voting on.
So we can leave
Nope,
her
no.
off.
Okay, the second item was the motion to accept Alan Shaw's Eagle Scout project as presented, and that was moved by Susan Daly. Yes, okay, and it was seconded by Tier. Yes, you're willing to second it again, Tier? Yes, I see a yes and a hand up. Okay, all right, go ahead on that one, Pam.
Okay. Mary Louise,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
and Lori.
Yes. Okay. The third item was the motion to approve raising the pride flag at Pear Tree for the month of June. That motion was made by Mary Louise. Would you like to make it again, Mary Louise?
Yes.
Okay, great. And it was seconded by Amy, who is not here this evening. So if someone else would second it, I see Susan's hand up.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and Sarah,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Tier. Okay, and Lori.
Yes.
Okay.
And the fourth item was the motion to approve Mr. Freight's docking the fishing boat at Pear Tree boat launch for the period of April 30th, 2021 to November 1st, 2021. That motion was made by Kathy. Kathy, you willing to make that again?
Yes.
Thank you. And it was seconded by Sarah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And Susan? Yes. Mary Louise?
Yes.
Tier?
Yes.
Okay, and Lori.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Pam, at this point, you should get the letter out to him.
Yes.
Yes, and the insurance and all of the usual items. Okay,
Well-
I assume we do not have to re-vote on adjourning last month's meeting. I think we could take a pass on that one. That would be unnecessary. Okay, well, thank you for all of that. Just getting that buttoned up. Okie dokie. So that is all done. Okay, the next item that we're going to vote on is the color scheme for our wonderful basketball court at Cherry Lawn.
Now I can share my screen if that would be easy. I did pull the picture up and just in
Sure.
anticipation of maybe sharing that.
Sure.
Okay, let me give it a go. Oops. Let's share my screen first, I think. Okay. Everyone see
Pam,
it?
yes. Yes. So these are the proposed colors.
Right, this is the proposed colors from the vendor. Very similar to our color scheme on the pickleball courts, which I think is nice.
Yeah, I was there today. That looks really good. The pickleball,
Mm-hmm.
very nice. It seems appropriate for what with the surroundings too.
So just out of curiosity, what would options be?
Well, I don't know that, truthfully. This is a pretty common, the blue and green and white. But you certainly could have a blue background with green, inside. That certainly can be an option. I think these are pretty typical colors for courts. It's a nice contrast, but you could flip it. But honestly, I think that they look really nice.
And Pam, I believe you told me that you had checked with the individuals who made donations to create
Yes.
the facility to make sure that they were happy with it.
Yes.
Okay. So our donors are like this color scheme.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good. That's important. And then when would this be done? Once we
Oh, it would have been done if we had already had the colors chosen. So they're waiting for us.
okay. And then will it take it offline for a few days?
Couple days.
A couple days? Okay. Okay, so we might just want to think about that in terms of timing, like with a long weekend coming up next weekend and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to do it before the long weekend if they
Okay.
can fit it in their schedule now that they're waiting for us.
Okay. Okay. Other questions from the commission?
Are these colors typical for other basketball courts?
They're pretty common colors. Yes, like I said, you could reverse it for a blue and a green free throw area and center line. But I can't recall, other than keeping the black top with some color. But I think if we paid for this, we should take full advantage of the full color.
Agreed.
Yeah.
How long do they think the color is going to last? Like, is there a warranty of some sort? Just out of curiosity.
I'd have to get back to you on that, Susan.
But just not that it's a huge deal, but
Like for instance, with the tennis courts, very similar to that, even though it's on post tension, but they say 5 to 7 years they'd like to see it painted, repainted, where we've waited 8 to almost 9 and it still looks pretty good. We're starting to see some chipping. So I guess I would, go a little along those lines.
yeah, my only concern with color is that when it does start to wear out or whatever, it starts to so if they could have some sort of assurances that it will last for
I think
years.
it looks really good. And the green sort of blends in with the grass all around it.
That's what I was thinking, Mary Louise. It sort of makes it look more grass-like as opposed to like huge blobs of blue.
Correct.
Yes, it's more natural.
Okay. Any other questions, or are we ready to vote?
Let's vote.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion to accept the color choices for the basketball court as presented by Pam? The green background with the blue for the inner court area.
I will move that we accept the color choices as presented by Pam for the new basketball court.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay. Sarah? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we will say Kathy,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Tier,
Here.
Yes, sorry.
and Lori.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll look forward to hearing when we can get that done. But when I was over there, this was last weekend or whatever, when I was there, definitely saw people using it. So
Yeah.
it's just great.
I got to figure out how to get back there to the screen without Xing out. I'm a little
Yeah.
afraid to make the, let's see. Uh-oh.
I think you just do stop sharing. Probably down at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, I can't see that. It's I just don't see that logo or anything. Let's see,
If you bring
settings.
if you bring your mouse all the way down to the bottom where you have your choices on your mic and your camera and your screen,
Mm-hmm.
you should
Yeah,
probably,
I'm in settings right now, but if I turn off that, I see all of you right now, but I still see the screen. View everyone. Hmm.
Hmm.
so you
Sorry.
you don't have those choices down at the bottom?
No,
You sure? You should.
well, not on my screen right now. I see down on the bottom is copy meeting link and invite, and there's something below that, but I can't see it. Let's see if I move this. Let's see if I move this up.
Can you just minimize that?
And then it says meeting is locked, so I don't want to hit that.
Okay.
So,
What about the three dots right in
yep,
the top
it's
right
right
corner?
now, but it says support and about go meetings. Let's see. Nope, that doesn't get me out of it either.
Mm,
Options. Let me look at options. No. Well,
Try
Probably-
Xing off. Try Xing off of the image.
okay.
Like shutting the image down. See if that works.
Yep, I shut
Yeah.
the image down.
And you still have your screen. Okay.
Right.
Try
So,
shutting your. Yeah. You need to.
I hate to
You
hit the
have the
X button over here. I think I'll stop recording it.
Yeah. You have the You're the organizer, so you're the only one who can share.
Okay, this is a little, we don't have our Boy Scout to help me here. Okay, here's the
I
little
don't
three.
use. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't use. We can put it back up if you want to just use that below rather than us looking at your email if you feel more comfortable.
Yeah, because now we're seeing your email.
Yeah.
Let's
We
see,
don't mind.
so
We don't mind looking at the screen
Yeah.
of the court.
I see another three bubbles here. This might be it. Let's see, connect audio. No, this doesn't give it to me either. I'm stuck. Well, I could keep fiddling if you want to continue.
Okay, well, let's continue. So we,
Hear everybody, right?
yes, I can see everybody's just, they're really small.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
Okay, the next item is public comment. Pam, did we have anybody register for public comment this evening?
No.
No, okay. Okay, all right. Then the next item is the update on the new pickleball court.
Okay. So the update is that we were struggling with what to do once the surface was done and painted because the fencing is back ordered. And I believe that I mentioned that in the April meeting.
Mhm.
But because the surface was done and they were ready to put the nets in, Sean, who's on the call today, went ahead, gave me a call. We discussed about what alternatives there might be to be able to open up the courts. And so he was very proactive and went to Rings End because he had some orange fencing, but he didn't think that would look very good. So he went to Rings End and they were generous enough to donate the fence that's there now, the temporary fencing. And Sean and Steve, our pickleball instructor, spent many hours putting up the temporary fence. And that allowed for us to go ahead and open the courts to people's delight. And I don't know if Sean, you want to add something to that? Oh, you're muted, Sean.
Hi, all.
Hi,
Thanks so
Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Yeah, Rings End was real nice to do that for us. It's like she said, Pam said, it's temporary, but you know, COVID, everything's expensive, everything's backordered, it's nuts out there. Luckily, though, he's not going to raise the price on us, but you know, that stuff comes from China or wherever it comes from, I don't know, but it's backordered and he's ready to do it when it comes in. Until then, we'll just keep at it.
And people are loving the court, Sean?
It was a full house last night.
Yep.
People are using it as, you know, all different times of days. It's great. You guys got to get out there. It's a lot of fun, and it's really worked out pretty good considering as word goes on, though, I will warn you that the demand is going to be up there, so you better start thinking about another one somewhere.
Well, we
Got
are
it.
also
That was there
putting
today.
together block time. So Jim and Jamie have been working on that. That should help a little bit.
You should, if you guys get a chance to go to Mead Park in New Canaan, they're actually doing, the same contractor is doing 5 of them at Mead Park, and they just poured it the other day. See how nice that facility looks by itself with the benches and everything. Give it a couple of weeks, it'll be completed. Probably no fence though.
I was there today. It looked awesome. There were 4 people really enjoying the courts. Their only concern was about, I guess, padding. I guess they were playing kind of, I didn't realize that you can go pretty far back. I guess they really, I don't know, but they seemed to say that they were hitting the fencing. Is that unusual? I thought that was kind of interesting.
When you play pickleball, you're really supposed to play inside. You know, if you want to go for it, you know, it's almost the same as paddle tennis. With the paddle tennis courts, you could go and bounce off the side walls too if you want. There's really no walls to bounce off of on this. You're not supposed to bounce. You're not supposed to play it off of any fence. It's supposed to be contained inside. The recommended size is 5 feet from each side, which we have, but we're 5 inches short of the baseline, from the baseline to the back of the fence, only 5 inches. Look, it's only a plastic fence that they donated. Once that new fence goes up, it'll be a more heavier duty kind of thing. It is what it is at the time, you know. It's just the sign of the times is not getting it. That's it. But if they need padding, you know, maybe they should put it on their head and their knees.
Yeah.
Well, we can order some padding for some of the poles that are near the end lines. I think that might be a proactive thing.
Or we could even get rid of those. Really don't even need it. You could get rid of the ones on the hill there. And Pam and I talked about actually taking that last step out and grading back a little bit, so it's not this kind of, you know, that court originally was built in with, from whatever was left over, with 2 steps going back. That whole back hill could be kind of graded back without cutting any trees, and putting some brick pavers with some benches or something so people could sit there. Right now, people are just using that step that's there to put their bags on. Most people are walking down the hill, which is no big deal, but Pam and I discussed that, and I guess
it's a capital improvement plan. It's more intensive than one might think. So there's regrading that needs to be done. P&Z has to get involved, and I think that we can put that in our budget for this upcoming fall. So that's the
I just
update.
can't believe you got 4 courts in the space of 1 tennis court, and that you can get all these people to play.
Yeah, it was hard to understand it when they
I
first said
couldn't
4
envision
courts.
it,
I had some time to wrapping my head around it, but now that it's done, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great. It's the
Good
best
job,
thing
Sean.
the town
Good
has done.
job, Sean.
No, it was
Great
a lot of
job.
volunteers, not just me. It was everybody.
It is everybody. There are a lot
All
of people, but you
the
did
people that
support.
donated, $43,000. That was pretty good. Val Baker and Patty Bumgardner and
Yeah.
Steve O'Connell, they all helped a lot. It was a big team effort, you know, and everybody just donated it. So, because it's such a demanding thing. It's all over this country now. It's unbelievable how it's taking off. Drive by Mead Park though, because we don't want to be behind everybody anymore. We want to
No.
be in the front.
Right.
Okay, so that's my update.
All right, well, while we're talking about the pickleball court, the next item on the agenda, we almost could have smooshed them together. But we need to discuss Pam's proposal to remove the 4 white pine trees that are just along the pickleball court. I did not want to actually vote on this evening. I thought we should have a discussion and then allow for any additional public comment next month before we make a vote, because people have very strong views one way or the other on taking down any trees. So to it's the south end, right, Pam, of the pickleball court?
Yes.
Bearing the house end. I did go over and look at it. There are 4 white pines,
Mhm.
which do apparently provide shade, which shade can be a good thing on the court, but also prevents that end of the court from drying as quickly, which can create more of a slick surface. So as I understand it, Pam is concerned that it's somewhat of a safety issue. However, we have heard her back from some of the neighbors and others who A, like the shade, and B, just generally don't think we should ever take a tree down. So I really just wanted to open it up for discussion. Pam, I'll let Pam speak and present what she's thinking, and then I'll take comment from the group.
Well, this is also comments from players on the courts that never got in touch with, me in the past, I'm not certain how long ago, but I do know that Valley Baker has had a daughter who has slipped and fallen from the slick surface, as well as a few others that she had mentioned. I'm sure Sean can also speak to it, but for now, the sap from the larger trees there too. So, but we're going to cut back some of those branches because that's also an issue in that corner. But again, this comes with also saying that we have the funding to replant. So it's not like we're going to lose those trees altogether. We will replant trees and better trees that withstand storms better as well. As we know, the white pines come down pretty easily in storms. But, I don't know if Sean, you would like to add something.
It's actually, I don't know if you remember before on the old court, in that corner, it was an ice skating rink. As soon as it wasn't just the moisture, it grew moss, and the moss was trapped in because it doesn't get any sun. And so it was that whole corner. And when the moss got wet from dew or rain or whatever it was, it stayed wet for the majority of the day because there's no sunlight. And I swear to God, and I'm not a tree hugger, and I'm not, they're insignificant white pines. They're nothing. The trees that are next to it, the nice big tall cedars or gorgeous trees, should they go? Yeah, probably for that purpose. Will they go? No, I don't think they have to go. I think the white pines are the majority of the thing. They were planted probably when they were 6-footers. They were planted too close. Now they look ratty. I think that when they're gone, it'll help the moisture in there. Nobody wants anybody to get hurt. And I'm telling you, it's a death trap when that corner gets wet. Now that the court is all nice and clean and all painted, why let that moss grow back? Will it grow back with the cedars there? I don't know. But it's got a less chance of growing back if the white pines are gone. And like Pam said, put something else more significant, something that most people would like to admire in the spring, flowering or anything, or another kind of shade tree. But those white pines are not worth saving, honest to God. And if you looked at them, and I'm sure because they are marked, you can tell they're not significant trees like the cedars next to it. And that's all I have to say on that subject.
Thank you, Sean. Mary Louise?
Yeah. Well, what strikes me is before we had 4 pickleball courts, we had a tennis court that was there for probably decades. And no one really complained about taking the trees down to protect the tennis court or from anybody playing tennis.
When the tennis court was positioned differently too. You would stay away like the plague from that corner if you play tennis, or even when we had the lines there. Everybody complained when we had the lines there for the last 3 years. Everybody that I played with or that talked to complained about that moss. Pam hears it too.
Now I hear
Did
it. I
anybody
didn't
come
hear it
up-
years ago, but
Did anybody come up with the with cutting them down in the past? I have no idea. Probably, but it's now it's come to a point where they have to go because A, they're a problem. B, it's a safety issue. C, there's nothing worth saving on those trees. It's just because it's a tree, you want to save it. They're not significant trees. They're not specimen trees. They're a park tree, but they can be replaced by a park tree, a better park tree that won't cause a hazard like this. Look, if you guys want to cut them down or not, I don't care. If you want to spend the money to cut them and save money later from power washing the corner, that's fine too. Make it a maintenance thing. Save those ratty trees and keep power washing the moss off. I'm fine with that too. I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Well, I too took a look at it today, and I'll agree with you. There are some branches on both the cedars and the pines where they should be trimmed because they've died, whatever. And it's like no one has taken any care of them over the past however many years they've been there. They're very stately. Granted, we have a lot of deciduous flowering trees over there. We don't have that many evergreen trees, and that certainly adds to the way the park looks when there are no leaves anywhere else.
Okay, Susan?
I was there today because I'm always there a lot, but I took a really close look today because I felt like, I don't like to take trees down too. I'm like Mary Louise, beekeeper.
Susan, you're cutting out a little bit. I'm having trouble hearing you.
I run a gardening group in town, so I really kind of love trees also, and native plants, everything. But I took a close look at those trees, and what I saw was that those pines are really growing into the eastern red cedar, which is a really beautiful tree in both corners. So what happened is maybe should have been pruned at some point, but it's taking away from the other trees that are there that we want to keep. And in order to kind of protect those trees and make sure that they continue to grow older, I think the pine trees, which are kind of have a lot of issues with the sap. Actually, when I was there, players that were there complained about how bad the sap gets on that side of the court, and that it was really sticky and hard to play on that court because of it. And I asked them from a, just looking at it from a, just the aesthetic, what they thought, and they said they had no objections to moving those 4 trees. I mean, they're really scraggly. And they've been growing into the red cedar trees there, which is just doesn't. Even the cedar trees are getting damaged by it, because it's growing into their branches. So now those have to be pruned back also. So honestly, as just from that standpoint, I'd like to protect, those trees also by, taking care of this issue. And whatever there are actually trees right behind it too that help provide cover. I mean, maybe they're not evergreens, but there are other trees. So it's not like devoid of greenery there now. So I'm okay with taking them down for this purpose.
Kathy?
Hi. So I did talk to Amy today, and she asked that I relay on some of her concerns. She couldn't make today's meeting about the trees. She did receive some complaints from some of the neighbors about the idea of taking them down. So I agree, Lori, we should have a public comment so people can sort of say what their concerns are about taking them down. I did want to ask if we've looked into how we could trim back the existing pines. I agree in the wintertime, Mary Louise, there's a lot of deciduous trees in the area. So there's very few pine trees in Cherry Lawn. I used to walk over there a lot with my dog. So I would like to look into what we can do about cutting down the pines, like trimming them back, and maybe making sure we're trimming back to the cedars, because cedars are really rare in this area. And also there's a concern if we take down the pines, I'd like us to look into, Pam, how would those roots affect the other trees in the area? Very often if you take down a lot of trees that have been intertwined with their roots, it can harm those larger trees too, and we wouldn't want that to happen.
I can have our tree warden look at it.
Yeah, I think that's worth doing, but I also think it's worth thinking about whether there is a different way. I played on that court a lot when my son was younger. I don't remember there really being a problem with sap in the summertime. I did play a lot. I actually liked the shade. So that's the other thing. I agree that having shade there is actually a good thing. I think the question is whether we take down the trees, the white pines, or whether we leave them in. And I'd like us to explore the options a little bit more.
Sarah?
I definitely want to hear from the neighbors. I think it would be reckless of us to not include their input. You know, I like the idea of trimming, but, you know, I don't want to, you know, I think to Susan's point, you know, upset the cedars if in fact the pines are growing too much into them. And in terms of roots, I mean, I think all those roots on those pine teams are so shallow, right? I can't imagine that they're going to be too much incorporated into the cedar. I don't know.
Tier? Any?
I agree with Sarah that I think it'd be valuable to prune them back, get more feedback from the players. I mean, safety is a big issue. I'm interested, you know, I know we know one person who had a serious injury on it. Is that right, Pam?
Right, that's what I understand, yes. I don't know the exact injury, but had fallen because of the slipperiness and hurt herself.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, could we put up a sign to say if you've had an injury here from, you know, from this court, can you contact us? Or is there like any way to get the word out or have contact with a lot of the players?
There's a new app out there for that some people are putting together. It's called Team Reach. It's kind of a group thing that's really starting to take hold, so people could play, and you can message people who want to play and so on and so forth. I think we could use that app to notify those people. Has anybody been hurt on here, or whatever feedback you'd like? That might be a good thing. Or Pam, getting from the Steve O'Connell, the pickleball guy who seems to know everybody who plays there. He's got a huge email list. That's another way. I'm sure we
Right,
can
we can have people contact me by way of public comment.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a little reluctant
Yeah.
to publicly solicit inquiries about have you been hurt on our town property. I'm not the lawyer, Kathy is, but that's not feeling like a good idea to me. I have to be honest.
No, it made me really anxious. So.
There's just it's like taking these trees because of one injury we've heard about. Yeah, I know. I would just like to.
Well, I don't think it's one injury. We're talking about Sean, who's saying that it becomes very slippery on the mossy area.
Yeah.
So I think there's some hands down, but I think it's worthy of, allowing people to have public comment in regards to the possibility of the white pines coming down. And again, Mary Louise, we could replant that type of evergreen tree or a different type of evergreen tree within the property, not so close to the fence. Because what also could happen in a storm, after spending $45,000, those trees knock down into that fence, we have more damage there too.
So Pam, for next week, could you tell us what your alternative would be? Could you tell us, could we see a diagram of what we'd be voting on? So I think that would be helpful too. So if you're going to replace it with trees and they're going to be farther back and they're going to be next to other trees, can we see what that all looks like for next month?
I can meet with the tree warden and other tree professionals and our park staff and come up with a plan for you.
Yeah, I think that's worthy of discussion too, because we need to not just vote to take down something, but if you're going to put something else up, we should know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Personally, I have a very strong dislike for white pines. Probably because they've cost us probably tens of thousands of dollars in damage over 30 plus years in the house because our yard was loaded with them. They have very shallow root structures. If you talk to Jamie Stevenson, she will tell you that most of the severe damage done in town during storms is from white pines that come down. So I do think Pam is correct that, you know, as they get taller, those are the types of trees that could come down and damage the court. So we have to be aware of that. I think in the 50s and 60s, they must have gone white pine crazy in Darien because they're just everywhere and we're all paying the price for them now. So I just have to say, I'm not a white pine fan. I'd rather, you know, see if we can't plant something that's more, you know, sturdy and stable, and evergreen. I agree with the idea of having evergreens or whatever, and, you know, really having a nice planting plan to replace them. And the trees around here do grow pretty darn quickly. I mean, I looked at them, they aren't particularly attractive trees. They're kind of bunched together. We do want to protect the cedars. So I think, yeah, getting a planting plan, I'd encourage everybody to get over there, take a look. I did go over and look a couple weeks ago, but I'll probably even go look yet again. Because I think, yeah, this is a case where I want to make sure everybody has a chance to really go and kind of visualize what we're talking about. But I like the idea of having sort of a planting plan and then an opportunity to hear from other folks. So that's why I didn't want to vote on this evening. I thought that, you know, people have very strong views on either way, and there's really no right or no wrong here. You know, and it is a park, and, you know, by definition, parks, you know, we want trees, you know, and it supports the animal life and all sorts of things. So I do think we want to be thoughtful about it, but, you know, balancing, you know, protecting our court, making it for a safe play surface, while also, you know, maintaining the beauty and the integrity of the court. So.
I had a landscape architect draw up a schematic as Jeremy Ginsburg wanted to kind of see how it would look. And I didn't talk to her about the trees, but she's very creative. And I'd be happy to get her out and meet anybody, Mary Louise or whomever, to talk about new trees, what kind, red cedars or Norway spruces or something like that that's green and sturdy. Or, by the way, with white pines, the tree guys they call them widowmakers because they fall. And they were planted because they were so cheap and they grow really fast. And that's their type of screen, like an arborvitae. But that's where they're not indigenous species like Norway spruces or red cedars or anything like that. They're just, that's why they don't, like a Bradford pear. People put Bradford pears because they come in nice in the spring and then they break, you know, it's the same kind of deal. It's just a cheap tree. It's not a significant.
Yeah.
But I'm offering to go out there and you could replant wherever you want, put new stakes in in fact, I have an account at Shemin's which is a wholesale place. We could even go pick them out. I've had trees shipped in from Canada, big pines, everything. That's what I do. I'm a builder. And I do not plant white pines.
All right. Well, Pam,
Oh, good. I am not particularly enamored of white pines, but I do like the idea, if in fact we decide to take them down, to make sure that we replace them with evergreens, as opposed to the flowering cherries, which look gorgeous, but there are so many of them over there.
Okay, well, Pam, if you could meet with the town arborist, who presumably could also give us ideas of, you know, in the location and the right number of trees and, you know, what would look good and work well in that soil and everything as an alternative. I think people would feel better about knowing that. And again, allow time for more public comment, you know, written or people coming to our next meeting or whatever. I think I would feel feel better than that. In the meanwhile, if any simple pruning can be done by the tree person to cut the worst part away, that probably wouldn't hurt either.
Right. I'll be on it and I'll try to get that within the next 3 weeks.
Great, thank you. Okay, any other comments on the tree topic? No? Okay, all right, well, thanks for everybody's thoughtful discussion.
Come out and play.
Thanks,
I'll
John.
whoever. Thanks so much. See
All
you.
right, thanks, Sean. Okay, okay. Pam, you were gonna update us on the, oh, we're still at Cherry Lawn on the playground equipment update?
Yes. So Susan Daly and I met, I want to say it had to be a good 6 weeks ago, if not 6 to 8 weeks ago. We met a representative of Game Time Equipment, and we took a real close look at the equipment that's there now. It's 16 plus years old. There were a couple units that were really, one was just basically a sand table that, quite honestly, we were trying to get rid of some of that sand in the playground because it was, bees tend to hide in it. And we get a lot of complaints from bee stings every year. So after we took some of that sand out, really that table became obsolete. There's another little piece of equipment that had wood edges that we looked at and said, well, in a year or so, there could be splintering. We thought that was another piece that we could replace. And this is with the money that was accumulating from our capital improvement of $15,000 each year we were putting in. So we didn't have significant amount of money to talk about doing something big like the 5 to 12-year-old playground, but we did indeed have enough to consider replacing a few pieces in the toddler area. So we agreed on these 3 small pieces. It was within our budget for purchasing the equipment and having to install it, which adds a lot to the funding. So we moved ahead. It is being done this week. We thought our guys were going to be able to save us a pretty good penny with removing the equipment, but they were only able to remove 1 piece, and then the other 2 had big, huge cement footings in the bottom. So I had to reach out to the installer and add another $5,000 to take out those footings. So I did go by this morning. They have the other unique thing about this is over the years, the age levels have changed a bit. So it is no longer 2 to 5, but it's actually 18 months to 2. And so the particular unit that we chose, one of them is geared toward the 18 months to 2-year-old, and the other one is geared for 2 to 5. Although the entire area is geared toward 18 months to 5. But now we have a specific piece of equipment that little toddlers can crawl on and play safely. So I think everybody will be very pleased. I did put up signs last Thursday on each one of the gates, letting the public know that the playground would be closed for the week. We also did this on social media as well. And, it's just a nice positive thing and a good way to use the funds that we have. I will try to use, we have a small bit of money after the additional 5,000, which I anticipated wanting to put in the swing set that the schools had donated to us for Baker, but I don't know that will be enough to do that, but I will try.
Any questions for Pam?
Oh,
Peter?
well, I'm really excited to check it out. Pam, I had a question about the bigger playground because I know there were safety concerns. Whatever happened with that, and kind of what's the plan for that?
Well, when we did have an accident that happened out there to a young girl who fell off one of our spinners. I did go through, we had the playgrounds checked each year. We do have it done annually. Matter of fact, I'm waiting for the report now. And although the equipment is 16 years old, it is not at its at its time, it lasts anywhere from 20 even up to 30 years old. And there was nothing there that indicated that the equipment didn't work or that it was broken. So, we left it with the family that we were going to put up some additional signage, which I have in order right now, just indicating at each entrance area that it indicated this is 5 to 12 years old playground. We do have signs up now, but the mom and dad really felt that they would feel better if if public knew from each angle when they're walking in that they knew what age group this was. So I have no problem with that, and we'll get that done. And that they had asked whether or not we could consider a possibility of fundraising to replace that unit, and she asked me what the steps would be. Did say that certainly could come to the commission and have a discussion about that, and that we would also look to put that in our 5-year capital plan to have that replaced, because in 5 years we would be ready to take a look at a close look at whether we're ready to replace it at that point, or whether we wanted to hold on 2 more years. Was there damage? Was it worn? Because we're talking about anywhere from, a little bit of a smaller unit, maybe $80,000 all the way up to $300,000 for the larger units, and 80,000 is very small.
Wow.
As you know, I did the playground at Wade Beach, and we worked. We actually talked to the people that did Park Pals, which did Cherry Lawn. And when this accident happened, we did talk about, equipment that gets dated, standards change, as we found out with the age things. And it does take a while to fundraise for this. It doesn't happen overnight. So I reached out to the Park Pals people and also the people on my committee, co-chairs, and we're willing to put together, if there are interested parties, like some sort of informational, like just to tell people. I think a lot of people don't know how to go about doing something like this. It's pretty big. We raised $250,000, and I'm pretty sure Park Pals was close to that also. So, I've been kind of I know there's so much going on these days, but I really would consider, even acting as the liaison to an effort like that, because I've been to it, a couple of times doing other types of things. So, it's a long-term project, to be honest with you, and it is going to cost about, to do it really well and effectively, especially with all the new families coming in town. It's about $250,000. But Playground by the Sound cost us, and it just gives us like all the amenities I think that we would need to offer in a place that big. It's a big area that we would have to cover. So I was going to ask, Lori and Pam, see if that's something they're interested in me working on. I'm happy to help. Definitely put together an informational meeting, maybe teach some of, especially newcomers to town, about the history and how we did bring these 2 great parks to town, and that it was quite effective to be able to tap the end users to help fund it too. Great private partnership. It was a lot of work and it is a little daunting, but it's doable.
Right. Great. Thanks, Susan. Yep.
And I do
You're
want to
right.
add that I spoke with the mom of the child who was injured. She had emailed me yesterday morning inquiring about the equipment being replaced, and she did say that her daughter's doing very well, which was phenomenal. So.
Okay. Any more discussion on that? Thank you. And I think Susan's right. It's amazing how much playground equipment really does cost. So, it's something we have to plan for. Chris?
Laura, if you don't mind, just for one quick second, being on the RTM, obviously I've heard from the same parents, and we've discussed this before, but Pam, if there's any way we can help let you get the word out more about what you were doing, because we heard about just this week, people are asking me, oh, why is the smaller children's playground shut down? And if we can help either spreading it online or getting through or through the different parents groups, etc., it'd be great. I think it is a nice thing that's being done, and we've heard a bunch of negative stuff that's gone And so anything good that we get to do or you guys get to do is commendable. And so however we can help, please just let us know.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Chris. Okay, great. Okay, any more comments on the update of the playground equipment? Nope. Okay. All right, the next item on the topic is, you guys might find this odd discussion, but it's the discussion of the portable toilet at Highland Farm. Now, I need to start by saying that Highland Farm is not a park, and it is therefore not under the purview of this commission. However, Pam placed a portable toilet at Highland Farm to support the programs that are run by the Parks and Recreation Department over the spring, which is the tot soccer and youth soccer, and therefore felt that given that instructors and such are there for multiple hours, you know, in an afternoon or whatever, or for, you know, the comfort of parents or whatever, that there should be a toilet facility available. As you all know, there are no toilets at Highland Farm. Pam, Jamie Stevenson, and I have received a number of letters from neighbors who were concerned about the placement of the toilet, and it is absolutely unsightly. So, you know, in talking about finding an area to relocate the toilet so it's not quite so visible, or some neighbors have asked us to, you know, to simply remove it. Separately, it's come out that the landscaping plan that Dan Biggs has been working on in concert with the Highland Farm neighbors, while it will happen, has been delayed. From what I understand, it's because the funding for the grant's not received, but again, it's not in our purview. So all the ins and outs of that, I don't have all of the specific details. We talked about moving it closer over to Ox Ridge. Pam reached out to the administration at Ox Ridge to let them know. I was copied on that correspondence, and not only did they not like that idea, but had a fairly lengthy list of other things that are going on at Highland Farm that they find quite troublesome and would like the town to take care of, which again is not in this commission's purview, but just, you know, dogs off leash, people flying drones or kites and other things that can startle the horses, even people too close to the fencing or whatever. So it kind of opened a can of worms. So, you know, we in case you've been hearing about this in town, we wanted to raise it. You know, the options are really, you know, remove the toilet to support the program. You know, some folks feel that people can get by, you know, without having a toilet available. To try to relocate it and screen it in some way temporarily. The intent is it would only be there for the 6 weeks or so until the program ends, and then it would be removed. And under the permit, then toilets can only be, they can be like a block of them can be brought in for a special event, et cetera. But we can't just plop a toilet there and leave it, you know, leave it all the time. So this is somewhat of an awareness discussion, but I just did want to mention it because it, you know, it's unfortunately caused, you know, concern by some of the neighbors, which I understand. I absolutely would not want to be looking at a portable toilet either every morning when I got up. It's just, you know, not what you want to be seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to add though, that also that when we have, like, let's take this past Sunday adventure at Selleck's Woods. You know, we had to have a portable there. It was for multiple hours during the day. Families, grandparents, children. You know, this is no different than having our that long day program on, you know, Saturdays and Friday evenings, what have you. I mean, you know, it's unrealistic to think that people will be knocking on neighbors' doors to go to the bathroom at their homes. I mean, this is a convenience for the users, and it's not going to be there all the time. Yes, I understand that it's not in front of someone's house, and no matter which location you move it to, you're going to be affecting some neighbor. And as we said, we moved it across the field, which was inconvenient for the program, but we were willing to move it across. But now, as you see, Ox Ridge has issues with that as well. So at this point, we have a mere 3 weeks left I am going to be searching and looking into screens. I did see Patty Baumgartner this morning at Cherry Lawn. You know, some sort of screen that may go around at 3 sides of it to screen it. You know, that could be a solution. You know, again, yeah, it's time. So I just got past a real busy time. So now I feel like a little bit of my time has opened up that I can do a little bit more research with that. But I still have to meet with Oxbridge too. I haven't even done that yet either. So we have to sometime next week. Susan.
Hi, I walk there probably 2 to 3 times a week with my dog.
Susan, you're really cutting out a lot. You're very hard to hear tonight.
Sorry, I'm going to sit closer. It's my son's computer. I'm sorry. I walk there 2 to 3 times a week with my dog during the week. And the side with Oxbridge is probably not a great side because they've started working the horses and they're really close to that fence.
We're still not hearing you,
Not
Susan.
hearing you.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? Computer. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but then you just come in and out.
It's the stupid bed. I'm sorry. I'm sitting under a bed in my house with the air conditioning on. So I go there 2 to 3 times a day.
Yeah. Mm.
Is there a phone you can call in?
Yes, I can. Sorry. Give me 1 second.
While she's calling in, I'm going to say I support you, what you're trying to do, Pam. The soccer teams and coaches are there for hours, like 6 hours at a time. I have a soccer kid. What about the parking lots? Is that an option or is it still a complaint for the
Oh, it's
neighbors?
directly next to the parking lot. So originally, Jim
Okay.
put in front of the parking lot, which I thought was way more of an eyesore. So we took that big tree that was right next to the parking lot and placed it in front of the tree so that the neighbor behind wouldn't be able to see
That's what
it.
I think. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I know exactly where that is. That's what I was thinking of too. Maybe a screen is an idea. That might be the best idea.
And we were even thinking plantings could be, if that were an area that, you know, a portable toilet would always go. But, you know, we're going to have some events there, and events are going to bring in 4 to 5 portables like it did last fall. But again, that will be only for a day or two.
I'll chime in. I think that it's just 3 more weeks and it's worth it to think about, you know, creating some type of partition for, you know, longer events. People have to go to the bathroom. Coaches have to go to the bathroom. You know, pregnant women have to go to the bathroom. We're humans. So, you know, I know it's hard on the neighbors and it's totally a bummer looking at it, but, you know, people have bodily functions and these little kids and these coaches have to go. So it's, you know, it's 3 more weeks. I think,
Coaches were actually nervous about little boys running over in the sidelines and having to go to the bathroom in the trees.
totally.
So I think it's best to have some place to go.
Other commission members?
Hi.
I know Jenny Schwartz is on the line. She's
Susan
on
wants to
RCA.
join that.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I muted myself.
Yep, now we're getting the feedback.
I think if we mute people, it'll be fine. I'll mute.
Oh, okay.
Better.
There's one more. Okay, I'm there 2 to 3 times a week, and I know that the dogs are kind of getting, sorry, this is awful, sorry. The horses are being worked along the fence now, so it's really close to the field, so that's kind of a tough spot. I looked at where it is currently and actually took a picture. It's kind of behind a tree already on our side, and then there's a road. And then on the other side, there's no direct houses because the houses on, especially that side, they're really far set back. So it's not, to me, like it wasn't as noticeable as if you had put it on the other side at the other parking lot. So, I mean, I think the spot that you have it in is probably the ideal location because it's close to the parking lot and the handicap parking that's over there. I think it makes it very accessible for families to use it also. It's closest to the field also where they play soccer. So, I mean, I think I can't imagine on the other side of the field where the part, you know, where there's more houses, there's no gate there and no protection. So you kind of, the field kind of kind of fades right into people's yards, it looks like. So I don't think that's another solution either. So, I mean, I just can't imagine where else we could put it and kind of serve these kids that, you know, are drinking and working out on the field, and parents that might need to like take one kid to the bathroom and leave one on the field. It'd be, you know, hard pressed to ask them to go somewhere really far to use the restroom. So, thank you.
I think I'm unmuted. Jenny Schwartz is a member of the RTM, asked if she could make a comment. Jenny?
Hi,
No.
thank you, Lori, and thank you for letting me speak at your meeting. I'm Jenny Schwartz, District 1. I sit on the Finance and Budget Committee, the RTM. I've been very close with the District 1 neighbors, the residents and neighbors, and following Highland Farm. And understand this is one of those things that requires compromise because it's not a good solution for everybody. It's like what's good for one is not good for the other. So, you know, Pam, your comment about the Selleck Woods, that was an event, which I believe that the neighbors around Highland Farm fully expect that when you run an event and you need to have multiple porta potties. I mean, they've been used to the Oxbridge Hunt Club Horse Show for decades, where, you know, equipment gets brought in, and I think that expectation was one thing, but this is a porta potty that when you drive around, you can see it from almost every vantage point. And I think part of it has to do with the fact that it's green and these big white signs and a big white roof, and it's a billboard, basically. It's an unsightly billboard from all angles. And the fact that it's a you know, there's a point at which something is no longer portable, right? When it sits there for a couple of months, and this is going to sit there a couple of months, as well as the equipment on the field. So, I understand your rationale for needing it. You know, I actually was there one Saturday. I saw about 6 people use it over the course of 3 hours. So I don't know who. Maybe there's other people using it. I do know. You know, I'm not sure how often it needs to be emptied, but I think that's a question. I also know that Baker Field doesn't have one, and that's got soccer and baseball. So wondering about the rationale, you know, how much it gets, when and where you need one. But I'm actually here to try to offer a solution in that, yeah, you know, option one is you don't have one, which doesn't sound like a good option for Parks and Rec. Option two is to change it in terms of covering up all the signage so it can blend in a little bit more. And there are porta potty providers that you can rent from that don't have basically a 3-sided billboard. And then option 3 is the one that I think is probably going to end up being the one that works, is to, you know, if you're going to be using a single porta potty for your events, then it should be screened. And if you drive by Oxbridge Hunt Club, they just doubled the amount of trees they put along their fence line. So, you know, in the category of if you have some arborvitaes and can put them in there or whatever. And I also recognize that the town is eventually going to be getting to their landscaping plan to complete the project at Highland Farm. It sounds like that's delayed till the fall, but it's we haven't heard that much more on it. But you know, the to be able to screen it with some kind of trees or bushes or shrubs that gives it, you know, a place where it can tuck in, I think that's a viable option. So yeah, it's more importantly, I think when the town owns and operates, when the town has a capital project or runs programming in a neighborhood, in any neighborhood, you just, not only do you need to be a responsible developer and partner, but you need to be a good neighbor. And I think the residents are, particularly the people who face that field, they're when the soccer people go home after their 1 hour activity, it's the neighbors who see it 24/7. So if there's a way to just give a little more consideration on how to best mitigate that, and I think any gesture is worth a lot, and I think that will go a long way with the District 1 neighbors and the people particularly who face it, because they live with it, and they live with it for months at a time, not days at a time. So I appreciate your consideration on, maybe checking out alternative, porta potty structures, and then more importantly, seeing if you can get some screening and some shrubs to give it a home once and for all.
Well, I would definitely look into different companies if that could be the quicker solution right away. Because I know finding screenage, even Patty was looking too for some too. That might take me a bit longer, budget wise. How does it go up? How do I secure it? But I will look at different companies. I have no,
Yeah, I can go out there with my green marker. We'll go out there with Sharpies and just like cover it up, like, whatever we can do to just
they
sort of.
Have pretty potties, they're called, but they're really expensive. They're wood.
Yeah,
they're really nice to look at, but
I'll put here. This is one that I saw. I'll put it in the group chat. It's a Royal Flush, which happens. I think they're somewhat related to Darien. It might be based in Bridgeport, but they do business in Darien.
Yeah, I've used them.
Yeah, so they have one that's green and it has a little white roof, but there's no signage on it. And I think maybe you just call. I think it's United who delivers them now. Can they take the signs off? Is that a start? Right?
Sure.
Can we have a green roof? Like any way we can do, because if this is going to be living there for months at a time, because I take it, when fall comes around, you might be looking at the same thing. Anything you can do to make it, well, by fall, you'll be able, I know that if the town's landscaping plan for Highland Farm goes in, I'm hoping that was an issue that was raised with Dan Biggs in Weston and Sampson last July when all the neighbors met with them to discuss the plan. And hopefully, maybe that's in the plan already. Maybe they've come up with a sort of like a shrub box that kind of, right? So, because when you drive, Middlesex is a major artery, right? So when you're driving from the high school and getting out to Mansfield, to me, that's like, I see that white roof and the white signs and like, that's my focal point, right? My eye goes right there. So.
Well, I have no problem trying to switch that out quickly.
Yeah, it's one solution. I'm trying to offer a couple of solutions, and anything you can do would be much appreciated.
Pam, do you
Thank
know
you.
if the landscaping plan includes screening for portable toilets, or could you check with Dan Biggs about that?
I will do. I know that he just shared the plan with me, but it's not completely complete. Put it that way. I know that the neighbors are anxious to see that come to fruition as well, but I did hear Kate talk about some area that would be of screenage, but I don't know what particular plants. I don't know where. No one's asked me right now, like, where do you anticipate that this area would be? So I would imagine we would be having those discussions.
Okay, I mean, that might be something good to drill in with Dan sooner rather than later. And even if there's some delay with doing the full plan, because the funding or whatever, and now, we're getting perilously close to being too late to plant, getting into the heat. And I know from personal experience, finding arborvitaes right now is, we heard about the fencing shortage. There's also a planting shortage. But even if, Dan could say, this is where we'd put 3 arborvitaes or whatever, maybe that would be something that could be done before the whole plan was, completed, possibly. Just, as long as we had, the professionals say, yep, they go here, here, and here, possibly. But I think it's worth investigating that rather than just kind of waiting and frustrating people.
That would be a gesture. being a very good neighbor, that would be great.
I absolutely would do that as well, but I think the quickest solution would be to at least call the companies to see if we can get something less loud. But it's not like the red dumpster at Pear Tree.
Mm.
Nobody's called me out on that one. I don't know why.
Thank you
They
for your
will
time.
now. Okay, great. Any other comments on this? I just did want to get the commission members in the loop because it does cross, it does cross over into our programming, and then there's been a lot of conversation about it and email traffic over the last month. So I did want to bring everybody up to speed also, so you're aware to the extent that you hear from friends and neighbors about it as well. Okay, but it's part of being a good neighbor. Okay. Last item agenda is just a quick update on Pear Tree maintenance and repair. Any of those of you who have been over there? Well, I guess they're not open to the public yet. You'll see that the bathhouse has had some paint, but I'll let Pam fill you in.
Okay, so Lori, Jim Flynn, and I walked Pear Tree after we had some residents, RTM members, requesting to have more maintenance done to the facility. So the very first thing we did was we met there to really look over with fine-tooth comb, what we could do to make it look a little prettier before opening day. So we asked Jim Flynn to get a painting proposal, try to find a painter, break down all the areas that we, break down the concession, break down the lifeguard, the first aid room, the men's and women's bathrooms, so that I could better understand how much each room would cost, because I know I'm coming to the year end of my budget and I'm really struggling to try to cover different overages. So he did that for me, and I called the painter directly and said that I wanted to start with the concession stand. We have a new concessionaire. She wants to move, get ready for a new season, and it was $1,900, and I was confident that that was a good start. And then my plan was to come back tonight to the commission meeting and ask all of you whether or not you would like for me to go forward asking for additional funds for the rest of the building, which was the first aid, the lifeguard, the bathrooms, and go through that process, even though it probably wouldn't have gotten us to before opening day. But that was my plan. So I called the painter, directed him to just start with the concessions, gave him my plan. And when there was a rain date open up that they could get inside to paint, there was miscommunication between my staff and the painter ultimately painted all of them. So in hindsight,
It looks beautiful.
It needed to get done. It looks good. The best thing that came out of the mistake was that over the winter, the rust really did get worse, that were on the shower floors and the first aid room coming in and out to the hallway. There was a lot of rust on that frame as well. They took care of all of it. So for $5,700 rather than the $1,900 I expected, I did go into my budget with a fine-tooth comb and was able to cover that expense. So I did go to the Board of Selectmen this past Monday and had it approved, and I went to the Board of Finance last night and had it approved as well. So it's all taken care of. Yeah, it was something that happened, but it happened for the best, I think. And I think people that were asking for more work to be done there certainly should be pleased. So that's that.
So they officially open Memorial Day, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so folks can't go in and you guys can't go over and see them now. I did see the pictures and it looks much better, much better.
Our
Pam,
staff, sorry.
I said the railings, the other hot button for me is the railings. Where are we on those?
Our staff will paint those.
Okay.
That's achievable for them. And the sinks, rather than messing with pulling them out right now, they're going to paint a little bit of, wearing. There's a wear and tear on the bottoms of the sinks there. They're going to paint those up. And I think with the paint job, I think it will look really good. If we have any, complaints about that, we can move forward. But right now, that 5,700, I wasn't expecting. So we either move forward to replace more in the summertime if we feel we have the new budget and we want to do that, but let's make that decision once it opens up.
Okay. And any sense when they can get to painting the railings? Just because I'm sensitive to the snack bar opening up, and that's a nice little kind of seating area, and right where the window to order the food is, and those railings are so rusty.
Now that if the weather's changed and it's warmer, I will get on them to do that before Memorial Day.
Okay, that'd be great. Good. Okay. All right. So I think the community will definitely enjoy having those facilities with a fresh coat. I mean, I'd love it if somehow we could figure out how to get some, front of the windows, a couple of planters. I don't know if we could get them donated by somebody or something, and some nice annuals. I think could, wouldn't take much to, really spiff that up a little bit. I think just ways to make it look a little cheerier. I think people, and you, Pam, you talked about trying to get some more furniture, but I don't know if you'd have the budget for it. Tables, no budget probably.
I really have to wait the next 3 weeks to see where the rest of the billing's coming in. Okay. It's hard to spend any money right now with many bills hanging out there that haven't been submitted yet.
Yeah, I understand.
So either we maybe take 2 of the new ones I purchased for Weed Beach. We might be able to bring 2 over with the umbrellas, and it still might look nice, and move the 2 we have at Weed Beach closer to the concession window. As we talk, that may make a nice difference. And then come the new budget, perhaps we could add 1 and 1, so they each have 3 with 3 umbrellas. That might make a nice difference.
Okay. It just might, I think that's something at least work, you and I can go walk it or whatever. Anybody wants to join us, just take a look at it. But I think just to cheer it up a lot will be nice. And, we want our concessionaire to be successful. And I think having a nice, fresh and welcoming atmosphere will definitely help. Okay.
Lori, I'd love to go walk it with you and Pam.
Okay.
Yeah, count me in.
Yeah. I mean, the times I've been down to Weed in the past week, it's been very busy. I was down there last night about 6:30 or so, and it was hopping. Yeah, Pam, and you saw my note about the ice cream truck?
Yes. And also about the overflow parking.
Yeah,
Wait,
I know.
What is that about the ice cream truck? Because I just got ice cream there last night.
They just can't be there when our concessionaire starts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
It's a conflict.
Okay,
It's
got
conflict. Yep. So he just needs to be made aware of that.
And the overflow of parking, Lori reached out to me today about some wood or something in the.
People put like this big circle of like logs in the
reason they did that. The reason that was done was because there is a bird that has laid some eggs in the parking lot. And it is a beautiful bird. I called the nature center today to just what do you do, right? But they basically said that we need to let nature take its place. And I think people were just trying to be cognizant that this poor mama bird is trying to protect her eggs. And
where are the eggs?
Right in the dirt.
Yeah,
and
she's
4
exposed.
beautiful eggs.
I've been checking on her for the past 3 days with our kids.
Yes, is she beautiful? Absolutely beautiful.
It's really amazing. She's super exposed right in that, unpaved parking area, kind of where the truck with the American flags, where he always parks.
Right.
Right. She's right there, but people have like lined up, just to protect. Someone even put a sign up, but it got kind of rained on.
All right. There was no sign because I just saw this big ring of logs, and and then there were like some. Yeah. I didn't see a nest or any eggs.
4 eggs there.
Yeah, there's no nest really. They're just in the dirt, and she lays on top of the eggs in the dirt.
And I didn't see, there was no bird there, and I couldn't figure out what the heck it was. Looked like a campfire circle, and one of the Darien police officers happened to be right there, parked right there. And I went over to him like, do you know, like, what's up with this? And he's like, I don't know, because it's, you know, I don't know what that's there for. So, all right, well, that explains it at least. It's big. And I was like, this
Well,
is
they don't want a
why-
car driving over it.
Yeah, so I was just worried about it being sort of a driving hazard or tripping hazard or, so what do we do about it?
Just let it be.
Just let
You
it
know,
be.
Taking care of the bird. Yeah.
Right, and you know, once the eggs are hatched, I mean, I know our park crew is worried about, you know, hawk coming down and grabbing the babies.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, we can't touch them, and so it won't be too much longer before they either, you know, are able to go on their way. But I think that was really nice that people put that barriers around.
Should we use like one of those sandwich signs like we use for the dog? Something that, because I mean, there was definitely no sign there. I could see on one of the logs, it looked like there had been a piece of paper, but it was like ripped off or something. So,
That's a good idea.
because someone like me, I mean, if
Yeah.
I'd had more time, I might have just said, I'm just going to move these logs myself because they're blocking the parking lot. And I had no idea why they were there.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So that
Okay.
explains it. I was very perplexed.
Or even I wonder if Jamie could put it on her social media and also, you know, just if, although I don't
Sure.
want a ton of people going over there because, you know, a lot of the kids,
Right.
you know, she gets really distressed. So maybe not on social media, maybe just a sign.
Yeah.
Anyway, crossing fingers for her.
Me too.
Okay. Okay, anything else in your director's report, Pam, or anything else that I know we've touched on so many of the things that were in your report.
Yeah, I think my report speaks for itself. We're getting as much as we can get done with the concession stands, getting them clean, getting the equipment, you know, checked, getting the propane ready. So we're close. We're close, and I think we touched on everything, to tell you the truth. Our budget went through. So I do have to get the other guard and ready to go in terms of the roaming patrol. So that's exciting, but I haven't moved on it right this yet because my budget it's been really a strange year of spending, starting last summer, and we're finishing out June 30th. So I just went for another transfer for an additional $14,000 that I did not have in my budget. I had to get a special appropriation, and that was just for cleaning, because last summer we were cleaning the facilities twice a day rather than once. I'm transferring cleaning supplies. Money for cleaning supplies. It's been quite a year, and I'm feeling it more than ever now at the end of the year. So,
So are you saying we may not be able to get the, our roaming security guard until July 1st?
no, I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait a week or so. I've been trying to do the numbers on that because we guesstimated too from last year how much we would finish with the guards, how much we'd have left over in the spring.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hold off till maybe just after or just before. I'll run the numbers again.
Okay. Okay.
But
Okay.
I'm all set. Oh, and then I did want to add something for new business after your report.
Oh, okay. I don't have too much. Most of my activity has been tied to things we talked about already. Mary Louise, I know you reached out to work on the standards of care, and I just got backed up. I actually, my husband and I actually got away for 12 days, and that kind of took up half of the month. So I feel like I've been playing catch up ever since. So, but we will do that. So forgive me for that. And we did have the Coastal Commission meeting earlier this week. There wasn't anything particularly related to the parks, as there are some months. They did put up, the signs, the safety signs in the kayak racks. It was noticed, Pam, that first they thought it was us, but it was them, that there's like a typo on one of them, but it's a minor typo. So some of the boat club, they try to fix with, I think, where it says, or it should say of or something. And I believe that they contacted Jim Coglin, and will provide a group of safety cards that are going to be mailed out to people who won the kayak lotteries, that they can put these stickers on their vessels with contact information if they so choose. You know, some people don't like having their contact information, but from a safety standpoint, it actually is really, really important if a boat goes loose, that emergency responders can actually try to reach somebody and find out, is this just a loose boat or is somebody, you know, fallen off or something. Beyond that, there wasn't too much specific. We talked a lot about shellfishing and lack of moorings and things of that nature, all sorts of boaty and water things. It's a real boaty group, I gotta tell you. It's a real boaty group. So that's pretty much it for me for this month.
Okay, so for new business.
I think we have to vote to go into new business.
Oh, okay.
So Pam is asking for us to go into new business to discuss a request to shore up a bench that is at Diller Park.
Correct.
So I need a motion to go into new business. Kathy is moving it. And a second, please. Tier. Everybody okay? Just raise your hands. I see Susan, Mary Louise, Sarah, me, yes. Okay, so now we are new business, Pam.
Okay. We sadly lost a colleague in town hall to cancer. I believe it was in February. I'm sorry, last fall. And all of the town hall employees were desperate to try to figure out how we could honor her. So we all pitched in and bought a commemorative bench. And we had it placed in town hall for quite a bit, and we surprised her family with it, who were grateful. And we had it placed outside Diller because it was Karen Diller who passed away, who the family that the park is named after, who I believe the town bought it from them. And we had it placed next to the entrance sign there. And the husband recently got in touch with me to inquire what the process would be to have himself and his family just create a nicer base for the bench, because it's kind of just in the dirt and leafy area right next to the park sign. So I think it's a lovely idea, and I told him that I would be meeting with all of you today, and I would mention this.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, that sounds really lovely.
Yeah, Kathy, you mentioned you used the bench and that it's wobbly.
Sarah did.
I did.
Sarah
Yeah, it's very unstable. The ground isn't level. I was stretching and, it was wobbling all over the place. So it definitely needs a good base.
So would this be like a concrete rectangle, or what
I think
might
they're
this
thinking about
be like?
pavers. It's like a paver base
Okay.
they would put in.
The only issue, Pam, that I can think of is with the wetlands. Is that a problem? Because I know the water flows like right in that area, I'm pretty sure, like when it's really raining.
I can bring it by EPC. I can stop and see.
I know that sounds picky, but I don't know if you're
That's a good
disrupting, the water there. I wouldn't want to get into trouble after the fact,
Right. That's a good question.
Also, I think that when they're building it, they need to take that into consideration and see where the water is flowing. And maybe they need to move the bench a little bit. I think if you moved it like in a little bit more, it would probably be out of the way of that water flow. If I'm thinking correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Of where I've seen it. You can see like the ruts, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where when it's rained heavily, you can kind of see the ruts of the rain like coming through down towards the street.
I'll have Jim Flynn, and I'll also talk to EPC about it first.
Okay.
That sounds, I'd hate to do something and realize we didn't do it correctly, so that then got damaged, or created other issues. And then does the bench then get secured to this platform?
we'd have to make that determination. Like these particular benches is the teak benches that we have at, Weed Beach and at Pear Tree, but we secure it with a stake in the ground. That's how we've been doing it and we have had no problems with that.
Okay.
But with this base, I'll at least I'll be able to come up with a plan with the husband after talking with EPC and our park supervisor.
Okay. Oh, I would just hate to say I'd have it stolen or something because it's not secured.
They may decide they just want to put some cement in the ground.
I would say, especially because of the location with it being near the high school and kids roaming around, I think it could be a lot more vulnerable to being moved.
Good thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, even when I was talking to the police officer last night down at the beach, and he actually asked, I just remember this. He's like, could you guys put bigger up signs, like so people are really clear that the beach closes at 10 o'clock? Because we get down there to lock up the gates 10 o'clock. He goes, sometimes we spend a half an hour wrangling everybody up and getting them off the beach, and so it's a challenge for them, as they go into the season. And then sometimes you get the teenagers are hiding off down by the sailing area or whatever. And we certainly know from the cleanup days that lots of beer cans are found down there. But I don't like to over signage, and I don't know, frankly, whether putting a sign up at the front gate, park closes at 10 o'clock would get people moving any quickly or not. But it was interesting to me that the police officer did ask about that he says that they really takes them quite a bit of time to corral people and get them out of there every night.
I think they really appreciated the patrolling guard last year that was helping them do that.
Right. Okay. Okay. So I think we need a motion on that to proceed with finding a way to work with the Diller family to create a permanent platform for the commemorative bench. So, Kathy, second. Tier. Okay. Any more discussion? Sarah?
No, I'm good. I was just unmuting if we're voting.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, then Pam, you can take the votes.
Okay. Lori?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Mary Louise?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, that's it. Oh, I did think one more thing. I have heard from the RTC, actually, your father-in-law, Sarah, that they do have 2 good candidates to fill our open slots or opening slots. So I think they voted on both of them, or they've interviewed them, and they're going to vote on them soon. He seemed to think.
I think they were. Haven't they gone up? Have they gone already? I thought they had.
I think they have. And then the next step would be to, Chris, maybe I'll to go for them. Selectman Chris, can you fill us in?
We did meet with 2 candidates, and all of our votes are next month.
Next month, okay.
They'll be moved forward, but we do have 2 great candidates. They'll be moved towards to this one.
Okay, great. So if that's next month, then they have to be recommended to the selectmen, who have to find time to interview them and then vote on them. So it sounds like we're probably a few months out yet. But at least we're making progress, because actually, being down 2 people. Technically, I've learned that Lucy is still a member of the commission, even though her term expired until she resigns. I think that was being worked on. But we're effectively down 2 people, and, that puts a strain on everybody else in terms of, just even simple things like attendance. If 1 or 2 people can't make it as we go into the summer, then it gets difficult with a quorum, and then just, all these things we talk about, and there's just so much to be done. So I'm hopeful that'll get done, and that, the selectmen can act on it pretty quickly once the RTC finishes with their vote. So thanks for that, Chris. Okay. And that, I think, was really and truly the last thing I had.
I just have one quick thing. Hey Pam, I need to reach out to Jamie because there's a whole bunch of foxes in Woodland Park. So I'd love to put up signs telling people put your dogs on leash. I've seen a whole bunch of them recently. So it really would probably help our leash laws, but also will protect the animals and the dogs. But I've seen them several times in the last couple of weeks. So.
We might be able to do something quicker with social media.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I think people should know that they're there, and sorry about my barking dog in the background.
Yeah, so can that go through all the contacts you have through your Doggy Do network?
Yes, it can. It can actually go through that. So.
I'll let Jamie know.
Okay. Oh, and I see Adele.
Hi, I just had a quick question, Lori, about the McGuan concession. Is there any news on that?
Pam, I think the Little League was going to take it back over for this year.
Little League had found a contact and they're happy to just go with it now at this point. And I'm happy and Tier's happy to just let it be. So we will rediscuss next year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I did see Nikki over the weekend, and she seemed, really excited to get to go. And she actually had a number of her new hires that will be working the beach concessions, working at Norotan Yacht Club, which had its snack bar opening this past Friday, to kind of help getting them trained and ready to go. But she seemed, enthusiastic and anxious to get going. I think the menu will be similar to what she had at the yacht club, and it was really good. So I'm really optimistic.
It's making me think that right now that it's amazing how quickly all of a sudden it comes upon us, Memorial, but I would like to be able to give her and give the residents some notice that she's going to be there, and maybe put out her menu on social media and really, have this next couple weeks to get people excited about her being there.
Yeah. Well, Memorial Day is in what's today? Today is the 19th.
It's 2 weeks from Monday, I think.
No, I think it's 1 week from Monday.
1 week from Monday.
Memorial Day weekend's not this coming weekend, but the next weekend.
Okay.
That's it's soon.
So
that's why I talk about the painting and stuff. It's
maybe over the weekend, Jamie can do some magic with a cool little pun and message that says that we have a new concessionaire.
Yep, and use the branding. She was excited about the branding and the T-shirts and everything. So we definitely want to get that out there. But I said, based on the traffic I've seen down at the beach, the evenings that I get down there for my walks, it's people are Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, whatever. People are down there, and the parking lot's pretty busy. So that's good. I think we're going to be busy this summer.
It's great.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, with that, I think we can take a motion to adjourn.
I will make such a motion.
Thank you, Mary Louise. And Susan is second. And Pam, you can have us vote. And
okay.
I'll say good night.
Sarah?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Pierre?
Yes.
And Lori?
I am now past hour 12 staring at this screen today. So big yes.
Okay.
Big
Thanks,
yes.
everyone.
All righty. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night.